For you, somebody else entered her life, and this upended everything.
Wade Robeson, her main choreographer, who was brilliant, did all the choreography for some of her biggest hits, but she started getting a little close with him. And it's kind of strange because he also did a lot of choreography for NSYNC, and everyone knew everyone, but her and Wade got so close, and her and Wade started allegedly having a relationship when she was still dating Justin.
Justin believes it. I know we have to say allegedly.
Well, Justin really
Justin
believes it.
clearly
She never
believed
denied it.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty clear, and Justin broke up with her. And by the way, we should say Wade Robeson, you know, came around later in life because he's made accusations against Michael Jackson, because Wade used to go to Neverland and said that Michael Jackson had molested him. Michael Jackson's estate says it didn't happen, but that's kind of been going on more recently. But back then, and still, Wade is a brilliant choreographer. And Justin Timberlake certainly believed that they were having an affair, and he broke up with her and then went in on her.
The Cry Me a River video, it was his second single being a solo artist, and this was pretty huge. He got a Britney Spears look-alike with the little hat and the blonde hair, and basically painted this image that he was scorned and that she had cheated and that she was going out knocking up one of his best friends, and the lyric literally says, I know because
I think
he
it's
told
the
me."
opposite.
Hitting on, not knocking up. But hitting on leads to knocking up sometimes.
Right.
This really tore Britney apart. And yet, she's pushed onto the stage of Saturday Night Live with Justin Timberlake in the middle of all of this. And they both look absolutely miserable. And she's backstage begging for forgiveness. He was having none of it. So again, think about, she is just, you know, do this, do this, do this. And all of a sudden, she looks back on her life and she's more a commodity than a person.
Well, and you have to also remember at that time, you know, she was incredibly famous. But like I was saying, this was that relationship, that moment, is when the public who weren't into teen pop singers suddenly got interested in the personal drama, and she became a tabloid star. And it's
and the whole
separate
narrative was built around, first it was Justin Timberlake's claws out, no ifs, ands, or buts about that music video. And then she does this interview with Diane Sawyer, who just berates her.
You did something that caused him so much pain, so much suffering. What did you do?
I was upset. I was upset for a while. I think we're both really young, and it was kind of waiting to happen.
This young girl.
So you're right. I mean, this became
dragged.
People who didn't care about her music were suddenly very interested in Britney Spears.
Absolutely. And then suddenly she's cast into that role. And, you know, again, how does anybody get through that with that kind of life?
Well, she's looking to replace that void. She's looking for someone to care for her. She starts going on all these dates, Colin Farrell, Fred Durst.
Which is really interesting because she's looking for older guys. Colin and Fred were both substantially older than her. And it's almost like, I mean, I don't want to say that they were parents, surrogate parents.
A father figure.
But they were a kind of a father figure, and she didn't have that. Jamie was gone. The mother was a stage mom. She worked the whole time. She didn't have a childhood. And you could understand why you would look for somebody who's almost like a surrogate parent, right?
Well, you said that without ever using the phrase daddy issues.
I know.
Well, but that's the phrase that a lot of people would use when you see her go on this run of dating lots of different people in Hollywood.
And this is when she discovered alcohol and drugs.
Party at my house.
All right, let's go. Come on, Brittany, let's do it. Yeah.
You don't learn the boundaries when you're on the road in music, especially at that time. No boundaries. There are no boundaries. But this is not,
because you didn't learn any beforehand. You don't even.
But this is not Aerosmith. This is Britney Spears.
Right.
Well, and you know, because everybody around her is on her payroll, and that includes her own family. So who's going to step in and rock the boat?
Right, she has no support system around her. And when you're learning your boundaries as a young person coming into your own with alcohol and social situations, you rely on having friends around you being like, all right, girl, put that drink down, like, let's go home. But instead, you have people around you enabling you and looking for a photo opportunity, and the whole time Britney's footing the bill for all of these nights out. Like, who's there around her to trust?
How you doing tonight?
And also, when you have no boundaries and you're a little bit reckless, you know what happens? You start saying, oh, let's go get married. What's wrong with that?
Oh my God.
And that's exactly what happened. Her and Jason Alexander, somebody from hometown, Kentwood, Louisiana, they went to Vegas, and according to him,
We're
he
wasted.
says, totally wasted. Definitely alcohol involved. And according to him, it was her idea to go to the chapel, one of those quickie wedding places in Vegas, get married. She literally had a limo driver walk her down the aisle.
Yeah.
And
5:30 in the morning, just them. No family around, no friends.
oh, and when they called family, it was not good.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, too, because they called Lynn, and Lynn didn't want to hear anything at all other than, I'm getting a lawyer, you're getting annulled. I'm not sure that's the best way of telling your kid, who's clearly troubled at that point. I mean, Brittany was a troubled person at that point.
Well, and as you said, like, she'd been looking for these like father figure, A-list celebrity guys, and then who did she wind up marrying? Somebody she knew from her the slight normal period of her life.
Well, can I tell you something? I know this from somebody who had a lot of interactions with Brittany. And Brittany had said to this person, and this was a little bit later, you know, on this roller coaster ride, that, and this is when she's a superstar. All she wanted to do was go back to Kentwood and be a hairdresser. I mean, because she
wanted that life that
normalcy,
she had walked
some
away
sort of
from. She wanted,
normalcy.
because she got the fame and her career blows up. She's doing all these things. She's meeting all these people. Now she's starting to realize what she missed back home, what she missed, and now she just wants that instead. It's like the grass is always greener.
It's not even recapturing her youth, it's capturing her youth.
Right, she wants to go back to that. But I want to go back to something. You said that you thought Lynn's reaction to the marriage to Jason Alexander was, what's the proper reaction there?
To tell your daughter to talk to
explain
your
to
daughter.
her why this isn't the best
Yeah.
thing for you.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, we're annulling this.
What happened? She got on a plane.
She was like a client, not a daughter.
Who got married and didn't sign a prenup.
Yeah, I mean, talk about control.
Because Jason Alexander wasn't just bad for Brittany, he was bad for business, and you can't have that.
Right. By the way, Jason Alexander surfaced again in a very bad way.
Turns out Lynn might have not been so far off the mark with her instincts.
When Sam and Brittany got married, he broke into their house.
Brittany, gotta have a gun.
No,
Hey, Brittany, get out, bro.
no, get out.
And had a knife, and is at the time we're doing this, he's being prosecuted for a felony. So maybe you're right, but still there was a way of doing it. Brittany was a commodity.
But what's interesting is that when Jason did show up at the wedding, he was saying, she's the only wife I've ever had, and she's the only wife I ever will have.
No, my name's Jason Alexander. Brittany invited me here. Britney Spears invited me here. She's my first wife, my only wife. I'm her first husband.
For 55 hours.
But he had said that
You were probably hungover for most of that.
Right. He's the only wife I'm told I ever had.
Right. Aw. But so they did get annulment after 55 hours. But
she
he
was
says,
she was so angry at Lynn for just doing it. She kept her wedding ring on for months.
Well, and the way that Jason Alexander told the story later on was that they were told they were put in separate hotel rooms, and he was given a plane ticket home and said, you'll still talk to her. If you guys want to do this for real in a couple months, once your heads cool down, you guys can still date, you can still have conversations, we can talk about it. And then they sent him home, and then 30 days went by, the annulment was confirmed, they changed Brittany's phone number, and he never spoke to her again.
there's the control.
The control.
Yeah.
We
Never
don't know
spoke
what
to her
Brittany
again.
wanted.
What I find interesting, the next stage in Brittany's life is that she didn't learn from the Wade Robeson experience and went back to another dancer.